Hello. Hello. So I think it's time that we address the Masonic agenda, what's going on with that, what their goal is, what their plans have been, what their plans are right now. And we begin with a chap called Albert Pike. Is anybody familiar with Albert Pike? Born on the 15th of August, 1809. And he was born in America. And in his lifetime, he managed to make some predictions. I don't know if they're predictions more to do with trying to pan out the future of mankind. So this guy, Albert Pike, he wrote a letter. And in this letter, he says there are to be 3 wars. Now imagine that for a moment. Think about that. That's like me or you or anybody writing a letter down now and saying there has to be 3 world wars. Why not 4? Why not 5? 3. Why not 2? Why not 1? 3. Okay. So we see that in the First World War, the aim was to overthrow the Tsars in Russia. Yeah. They were a powerful nation, and they had to be shut down. So did we have a World War One? We had a World War One, and what came out of that? The League of Nations. So the first goal in this Masonic letter was fulfilled. You know, people would like to brush over that. That's a big deal to get the First World War. Then he talks about a Second World War, all right? So after a First World War has been staged, many people have died, lost their lives for the cause of the Masonic agenda. Nothing more, nothing less. So we have this Second World War. Now, bear in mind, this is what people have to remember. Bear in mind that this guy was born in 1809. He died in 1891. He had a long, prosperous life, but this is the 1800s. How does he know what's going to happen in 1914, 1915, 1945, yet alone the year 2000 and beyond? Okay, so he's predicted 3 world wars. He's seen 2. He's not even here. He's dead. He's in his grave, and his plans, they're going in order. So the Second World War, he talks about. Well, let's read what he talks about. He says the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between fascists and political Zionists. Bear in mind, this is 1809. How could he make a prediction? Anyway, so this war must be brought about so that Nazism, 1809, there's Nazism. This is strange to me, right? Nazism must be destroyed and political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state in Israel. So if you were in the 1800s and you saw this letter, you would say, are you crazy? You're going to rather get 3 world wars or even 2 world wars. You're crazy, right? People would say he's crazy. But we've seen, and not just to, foresee 2 world wars, but who will play their role in each war, okay? In 1800s, he's talking about Nazism, Palestine, Israel. Okay, so during the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, okay, which would be restrained and held in check. So they want to hold this religion, push it, keep it in check until a certain period. They said when we need for the final social cataclysm. So we jump ahead to the Third World War. I mean, there hasn't really been a Third World War anywhere, not in my lifetime. And they say now his idea is to take advantage of the differences, agents in the Illuminati between political Zionists and leaders of the Islamic world. I don't think people are grasping the gravity or the nature of what we're talking about here. This guy didn't even go beyond 1900, yet he's talking about Islam. This is now. Islam is happening right now, here and now. I don't think there was a huge Islamic problem back then. Maybe there was, but who knows? But anyway, he talks about the war must conduct in such a way that Islam and political Zionism will mutually destroy each other. So they're going to conduct now that this Zionism and Muslims and Islam will, clash. And then he talks about to unleash nihilists and atheists. So they want to provoke a formidable social. So if you look at what's happening right now, it's kind of following suit. The plan is coming together because right now we have a lot of different factions. Right now we have a lot of different people with values, and we're all being thrown together on this internet. And, you know, we seem to be at loggerheads. So we are being provoked. We have a lot of atheists come on here and try to provoke a lot of people here anyway. And then it says something about it's going to take man back to the origin of savagery. So, I mean, if looking at what's happening, I can see that with this flat earth thing, because I've said this at the beginning, this is going to take everybody back to the beginning. We're all going to go regress 500, because all of what man has been learning for 500 years has been a waste of time. So what's going to happen? Man is going to resort back to savages. They don't know anything. You know, they're going to be wild. You know, they're not going to know who to trust. They're going to say, well, I don't trust you. I don't trust the government. I don't trust science. I don't trust religion. I don't trust anybody. I'm just going to cause anarchy. This is exactly the plan to the T. Everything is going along perfectly. So this is the Third World War that you are in right now. You are part of the Third World War. So how Albert Pike was able to, you know, foresee me talking about this right now, you know, you listening, people out there talking all that, you know, he foreseen this, right? So then it's talking about everywhere. There will be a bloody turmoil. This before again as well. I said, imagine this was in public, with talking. If I try to talk to you about we don't live on a ball, and you're going to say, oh, you're stupid, and then it's going to turn into, you know, some kind of, you know, cataclysm where it's going to be a horror show. Yeah. So now it's talking about all the nations will compete with each other on who's right. It's going to be a mass. It's going to be turmoil everywhere here. So that is the plan. That's the plan. So now you have to ask yourself: are you part of that plan? Are you going to go along with what the agenda is? Because we've been taught. Anyone who's been into conspiracies have looked at all of these things. They've been taught what to look out for. Right? We're learned men when it comes to conspiracies. We know when something's not right. Now, what it means now is at this point, all what you have learned throughout learning about conspiracies, what are you going to do with that information? You're going to continue to, because this guy doesn't talk about a fourth world war. So this is it. This is the one. This is where it's make or break. Yes. This is why they're going to go harder than before with ridicule and attack, because this is make or break. There isn't going to be World War IV. It doesn't talk about any World War IV. And we are in this now, have to make decisions which way we're going to go. Are we going to expose this plan? If you don't know the plan, how can you stop any plan? Yes. Are you willing to die for this, you know, the truth? Most people are, most people are not. And that's what they're talking about here now. The World War will not be with guns and bombs and like how you imagine, you know, nuclear, whether you think there's a nuclear bombs or not. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be civil unrest, huge civil unrest. It's going to be Muslims versus Christians versus atheists versus Satanists versus New Agers, you know, all these Buddhists, all these different sects. These are the people, when we are, because it talks about unleashing. So it's like we've been held back right now. So what will they do? When they shut down the internet, when they shut down electricity, when they cause some kind of, you know, problem, they have to cause a problem. It's a must. They cannot let us just continue thinking. It says in the Bible, when they say peace and safety, you have to know that there's danger around that corner. So we know right now that as a bomber, or, you know, he was talking about peace and safety, we know there is imminent danger coming. We know this. So when we talk about war, the Third World War, this Third World War, don't have in your mind it's going to be with guns, because it's going to be the public, us versus the governments, the systems that be. That's who is going to be the next enemy. We are the enemy to the government. Yeah, because now I don't think anybody has woken up in such huge number about their masters, so-called masters. Yeah, there hasn't been many people who, at one time, I mean, say the 70s, you know, somebody might have written a book. You know, there's conspiracy going on. Then through the 80s, you know, someone might have made a video. There's conspiracy going on, but it couldn't really, you know, spread like it is now. So this is why they talk about the Third World War, and we are in it. So yeah, let me just close my window. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we can sing, we can dance, we can celebrate the fact that we know we're on a flat plane. That's the first part. Now we're going to obviously, because I do like to debate. I mean, it's like I do like to get things off my chest. I do like to kind of test myself, whatever, to see if I'm, you know, correct or incorrect. And so, but at the same time, a cut-off point. Where you can't be in a debate all the time, you know, debating, going around in circles. That's exactly what the plan is. That's the third world. I kind of think we're already in the Third World War now. This is the beginning stages. It's like if let's say, for example, in 1934, we're like 1933. In that, we're hearing about war. We don't know what's going on. Everybody's, they're cautious of each other, and that's what's happening right now. So it talks about then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves, as I just said, against the world's minority of revolutionaries. So we will be like a minority because a lot of the people will want, not because it's their fault, but they will want their cars, their houses. They will want the protection of the government. A lot of people will be lost. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I survive? How do I live? Some people don't know how to do that. So the government kind of like say, we'll do it for you. And people will be glad. So this is what, when the RFID chip comes in, people will be glad to take that. Of course, so that's what we'll be up against. So we just have to kind of strengthen our spirits, strengthen our souls, and be prepared. It's about being prepared because this is the last war. This is the last world war. If they don't get this right, I don't think there's going to be another opportunity for, any system or machine to take advantage of people again, because this is where it's at critical mass now, isn't it? Things are coming out that have never come out before. Okay, so it says here, the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirit will from that moment be without compass. So they truly believe that, right, they have to get it right, that they can disrupt people's faith, everybody's faith, because this will be it. Flat Earth will be the one, because look at all the ballers' reactions and responses right now. We have the front row seats of the reaction of the public. When we think of people like Qantas, who just will not give up. He was like, no, he'll go to his grave saying that we're silly, we don't know what we're talking about. It's a ball without any proof. This is what the saddest thing is. He doesn't have any concrete, solid proof. His proof and my proof should be the same. We should accept the same thing. He shouldn't say, I accept this, and you should accept. We should both look at something, like everybody should look at it and say, we both can agree that the grass is green. We both can agree that the sky is blue. Now, if you want to do, I'm talking about on initial observation. Now, if you want to get deeper and say, well, the grass isn't actually green and the sky isn't actually blue, then we can take to that next level. And then we do tests that we both agree on. Yes, not just tell me, well, you don't get it, I don't get it. This is what they've engineered. This whole thing has been engineered, that people will die for their beliefs if they really. And look, a lot of people are made a fool of. They're laughing at us, right? So just imagine, like, if it comes out it's flat, these guys are going to be the biggest ridicule on earth, right? So they're just fighting that to the last days, and that's what we're up against, is this delusioned population. Everybody's delusional. Everybody's delusional. Everybody thinks they're right. Everybody thinks they have the answer. So basically, now we can get towards the end goal, the end plan, right? So they get everybody disillusioned, right? So they get the Christians like, where's your God? And again, we've been warned in the Bible, so we know about this. We know that there's going to be harder times before there's good times. We know it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But we can stick to the Masonic agenda, because it's exactly the same, because they kind of, they believe in some kind of higher power. So they're dealing with the same kind of spiritual thing. But what they want is for everybody to turn their souls over to them. Here, check this out. Listen to the last part of the Third World War. Right, so it says, but without knowing where to render its adoration, right, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the plan, right? So when all you guys who try to come on here and say, I'm not going to argue with anybody. I just know that I know from when I've studied all the conspiracies, the Masonic agendas have always popped up. When you're looking at this, they seem to be connected somehow, some way it popped up. And then when I saw this letter, it kind of solidified what I already knew, right? So it is a Luciferian agenda. It is a satanic agenda. And I suppose, yes, when atheists say, why do you call this Satanist? Okay, granted, that might be a bit wrong because it's saying here that the plan is to destroy atheism and Christianity. So what does that mean? That means that the atheists are a problem because they don't believe in any kind of deity or any kind of deity. You don't believe in any kind of spirit. So they want you are also a problem. If you go around the Masonic world telling the Masons, well, wait, there is no spirit, there is no higher power. You are also a problem. So they're going to try to disillusion you atheists and us Christians in order for us to, let's read it again. So finally brought out in the public view is, well, this is why I say we're already in World War III. Is Satan, this is Satanism, not atheism. Atheism, I agree, is not Satan according to this letter. So this Lucifer, the doctrine of Lucifer, is Satanism, the pure doctrine, right? Be brought out in public view. Would you agree, disagree that the Lucifer doctrine is already in the public view? I would say it already is. Some might say, no, we don't notice it. I think it's already out there. A lot of Masonic symbolism everywhere, yes? So that brings us to, the machine that we live in. Now that you understand, now you've had an understanding of the 3 world predicted wars. 2 have happened. 1 is yet to come. We may already be, on the shore or there. But this is the plan. This is. I know a lot of people, they don't want to sort of read the Bible. Well, that's fair enough. But you can also know your masters because you're a slave. I kind of found out why we needed the birth certificate as well, how it came about. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. I don't know. This is what I heard. But the reason why we had the birth certificate was because in America, when the slaves came to America, they needed registering like any animal. Like they said, they compared the slaves to cattle, right? So when they brought slaves over, they had to register them. And then when slavery ended, they thought, well, we may as well continue this slavery, but in a different form and just give everybody a birth certificate. So that's how we are still in slavery, but without the chains, so to speak. Yeah. So that's so if people don't understand the legal name, that is why. I don't know if anybody has watched the series Roots. They bring over Kunta Kinte from Africa and they tie him up. And the master says to him, your name is Toby. And he's like, no, it's Kunta Kinte. So they're trying to give him a different name, basically. They wanted to register him. This is why it was important that he said, my name is Toby, because if he didn't recognize Toby, he's not recognizing that, not that he's just a slave, but he's not recognizing that he's an entity, he's a corporation. They're trying to beat the corporation into a person. You are a corporation. You are a corporation. And he was saying, no, I'm my name, which is kind of given by God, my father, whatever, going on like this. And that's exactly where we live right now. That's how it is now. We have the two names, the legal name and your real name. So how long we got left? How long is left? Any questions about the Masons in the chat? I'll answer if any question. Anybody? I was an atheist for 50 years, but my mind is definitely changed. Wow, you see, this is the thing. It doesn't matter if you are an atheist or Christian, they're going to try and destroy both. They believe in a higher power. You can't join the Masons unless you believe in a higher power. So if you want glory, money, success, fortune, wealth, prosperity, and all these things, you have to take things. Otherwise, you won't get them. You won't have them. You won't be granted anything like this. But if we just look at around the world's events, they're just gearing up for it. It's all gearing up right now. It's all happening. And they are our biggest enemy. The Mason agenda is our biggest enemy. And they are smack bang in the middle of this flat earth somewhere. They're lurking around, making sure that their name isn't demonized in any way. You can't talk bad about Masons. They're supposed to be a secret cult. You're not supposed to talk about Masons and the Masonic agenda in public. That's why anybody who comes in here and says, oh, trying to blame the Mason, that is the number one way to get you to not talk about it. It's ridicule. The earth is flat. It's ridicule. It's ridicule. That's all they've got is ridicule. That's all they have. That's all they ever will have. That's all they ever will have. And when you realize that they have nothing, their pockets are empty, and all they have is dry, unnecessary, unuseful, unhelpful, then you'll be a happier person. A lot of people, they don't know what's going on. Understand one thing: you are part of a plan. 3 wars have happened. 2 wars have happened. 3 wars supposed to happen. 2 have happened. In 1800, he spoke about Nazis, and he's also spoke about Islam. You ask yourself, how can that be? So, yes, the Masons can't. They are. Yeah, they are pawns too. Yes, of course. No, look. Don't think I don't understand that, how Masons work yet. They are fooled just as anybody. It talks about Lucifer, so the whole thing is a lie. The Masonic agenda is a lie. So good men will join this gang. You want to be in my, join this group in the hope of being prosperous. That's it. If you take a man who has nothing, if you take a man who's, he looks at his neighbor and his neighbor has like a nice car, he's gonna want that. That's how we've been brought up to, to think. Nice car, he wants a nice phone, and there's only certain ways to get these. You're behind off for 20, 30 until you're 60, 65. You kind of see old men driving Ferraris, don't you? Like they're like 55, 60, 65. They're driving like Ferraris and Porsches and that. And it's like, it's not the same, is it really? It's not the same as if, say, like you were, when you was a teen, not a teen, obviously not teen, but, when it mattered, when it counted, when you had that feeling, because obviously when you were younger, you kind of are in that mode of showing off. Look what I've got, look what I can do. As you grow up, you go out of that. So you grow out of that idea of, I want to show off, look what I can do, right? And it becomes less of a competition, yeah? So when you do see a 65-year-old in a Ferrari or whatever, it shows you the circle that they're in. Yes, they're trying to keep up with whatever circle that they're in. That's what impresses their circle. They absolutely. So, these guys, they will join this in the hope that they can, get a better life. If we look at the actors, the musicians, they do this for a better life. That's all. They think they're going to get a better life. The grass is greener on the other side. That's what it's all about. And they don't want you to understand that you are a man. You are special. You're not insignificant. That's another huge lie. Keep drumming that into people. You're insignificant. It's like what you tell abused children. You're nothing. You're no good. Hey, don't come. This is what bad parents tell children. So this is what the system are telling their slaves. You're nothing, and that's what they do. That's what they would tell. That's what they would tell the slaves, that you're nothing. Remember one thing, that you're nothing. You're not on the same level as as the higher Masons. That's what they're going to say. The Mason agenda is all about a pyramid scheme. Yes, and we're at the bottom of that. I'm proud to be at the bottom of that. I'm proud to be in the position, on the level position that I am on. That's I'm at. I would never try to gain any kind of fortune, do anything, to just for false fame. It's so deep. It's so I know a few people understand that. Some people don't, but that kind of thing, you do need to talk to somebody about it. So I'm not going to bother on about that. We're going to try and stick to the Mason agenda. People like A4, let's bring him up. Let's talk about him. You think that in this environment, you can just... You think in this environment where people have been studying, researching conspiracies, you can just flash around, look what somebody sent me. No, it's not a joking matter, the Masons. It's very serious what they get up to behind the scenes, what they, what that symbol represents. There's not a lot of humor in it. It's not something, one should be displaying as... The only thing that I can see anyone would be displaying such signs is just to show, somebody else. Not the people that don't understand it. It's going to mean nothing to them. They don't understand it. They don't understand what these symbols mean. So it doesn't mean anything. So when somebody holds up a hand sign, it means nothing to the normal man. Yes, but it says everything to the brotherhood. And unless you know the secret, you're not going to see the signs. They happen right in front of you. You're watching flat earth videos and Masons are flashing signs right in front of you. And they're being brushed off like, again, the best way to ridicule. I think it's a new tactic. I think this new tactic of self-calling yourself a shill happened about, a year or two ago. I think they thought about it. I think they thought it was a risky step, but they thought, let's just go with it. because it seems like you're in the fold. So let's just call him a shield, call him a shield, him a shield, him a shield. So now they're just kind of, when it's said, it's kind of like it's said as to be brushed off. It doesn't go into great detail how I'm going into detail about where the agents come from, who is employing these agents. Yeah. So I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, I'm a shield. They say I'm a shield, and then, oh, that's silly, isn't it? And then not go into detail about why people think people are shields. Where does the idea come from? Right? This is not something that you brush off, something that you take lightly. It's not going over my head anyway, because I can see the plan. And, you know, unless other people can see the plan, you're going to continue to argue with people. You're going to continue to, what does it say here? You know, it says there's going to be bloody turmoil, a horror show. I mean, if you look at everything's a test, everything is a social experiment. Here right now is a social experiment. They want to see how we react. The atheists react. They want to see how the Christians are reacting. They want to see how the people who, you know, the trolls who have nothing to do with this, who are just trolling, they want to see how they react to that are being analysed over the course of this flat earth arena. A lot of people, a lot of character. And unless people, like I say, know what the game is, know the plan, board, you're going to be on that board, you know, waiting for someone to roll their dice, like your masters to roll the dice, and you can take your move, make your next move, take the step. When he says infested, that's an understatement. It's probably when we talk about very, very few that really have this understanding, that not just believe it's flat, but know what's going on. You know, because there are a lot of people who jump on this flat earth wagon to join some type of gang or trying to make it into some type of. How can it be a cult when it's the whole world, not the plane? So unless the whole plane is a cult, it doesn't work like that. So as we celebrate the fact that we are on a flat earth, we have to understand the people that have given us that lie. NASA, you do not go into space unless you are a Freemason. No Mason, no space, so-called space. You know what I mean? So you don't get to go in a pretend simulator unless you're a Mason. So people are asking, how do they keep up this lie? How do they deceive so many people? Well, if you are a Mason, it's very easy because you don't disclose this information, you know. And look, I was supposed to do a video on this, but I didn't get around to doing it. But give you a heads up. So let's say, for example, you have a Mason in America and you have a Mason in England, but they don't know each other, but they're both Mason, or even Australia or anywhere. But they don't know each other personally. How are they going to recognize each other? How are they going to be able to know if you are who you say you are? Yes? Now, think about that, right? They have to do certain hand signs. Why do you think these guys are constantly moving their hands? Nobody speaks with their hands. Are my hands moving now? Can you see my hands moving all over the place? No. You don't have to talk. We're not Italians. Any people that talk with their hands are the Italians. We're not Italian here. You know, bada bing, bada bang. You know, mamma mia. Talking with their hands, right? Nobody speaks with their hands. When you see these guys throwing their hands, it's for distraction. It's to show, it's to, you know, they'll fling up one hand and then it'll be nothing there. Then, you know, the guy's paying attention, the other guy. And it has to be subtle. Just as long as you put half of the positions, the secret positions are unnatural. You don't put your hands in those positions. They're unnatural positions. When people are relaxed, in a relaxed, see, this is the thing. If I'm watching somebody and I'm not relaxed because they don't look relaxed, something's not right. You watch a lot of these people and they don't want you to say certain things. They're not relaxed. But you see a lot of flat earthers on the air and they're just relaxed. They're just relaxed. You know, you're just talking normally like you would talk, not trying to present something to somebody, not trying to, like, you know, put yourself in any kind of position, but you're just talking as, not as anything, just talking like I'm talking now, like someone says something here now, you're just talking. Yeah, I know my screen is black, yeah, right? So you've got to look at the hand movements, the body movements, all this will tell, this is another language, right? So this is beyond most people. They just won't understand it, but this is why we're here to help you recognize that right in front of your face, things are going on. People are trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? In plain sight, do things to you right in front. Oh, hey, Poncho. Why is
that face not working? There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. I can. I didn't have my. I had it turned down.
I've only just got in. So
distracted.
A friend of distracted.
Yes. I don't know. Sometimes I just get really chatty and feel like I could just
just go on. I know. I've done it myself. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about these things, right? And it seems like we have to tiptoe around a society as it's crumbling around us. Like, so, we have to be careful to say that, have to be careful saying this. Don't upset that person, don't upset this person. And, look, if we continue, like, that's the thing. People are already doing that, ignoring what's going on in society. They're already ignoring it. So if we ignore it, then we know, we're just the same, So we have to, like you say, things
take a stance.
Take a stance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I'm not moving, I'm not spinning, I'm not rotating, I'm not spiraling. I'm not doing any of the things that they told me I'm doing. I'm certainly not paying any attention to anything they say in future.
Never, no. And this is what's going to happen to a lot of these people.
Yeah,
they're not going to pay attention to anybody. What are they going to do? This. What do you think about that? What I've just said about I don't know if you heard me talk about they're trying to destroy Christianity and atheism both in order for us to receive the pure doctrine of Lucifer.
Haven't they already done that?
To some extent, but
they just want to beat the last out of religions, you mean?
Yeah, out of even non-religions. I mean, atheists don't believe in any kind of spirits, what if they do they? Not at all.
I'm sorry. I've just, oh gosh. It's one of those days, right, Spurs, when I didn't get any sleep last night, you see. And then I only went out to get some Rizzlers, bump into a friend, and he puts you in a VR unit. Yeah, so let's just say I had a quick go on his bong. I'm a little bit giggly at the minute, so forgive me. Yeah, the world is being deconstructed before your very eyes, and then it's going to get rebuilt from the flames and the ashes that you helped destroy, and then you're going to want to help to rebuild.
But people ask, are we in the last days? Are we in the last... This is, for me, this will be the last war. When we talk about World War III, when we talk about World War III and the magnitude of World War II, I don't think, let's say if World War II was today, let's say the Second World War was in this time, it would be awful, right? Half the world would be gone. So the next World War is definitely the one where they're going to really try to, achieve their goal.
Everything.
Yeah, but achieve their goal. Their goal is look how we're already slaves, but we're slaves who ask questions. They don't like that. They don't want slaves who keep leaving the pen.
Yeah, because when you're asking questions, you are as king.
Right. Yeah, and exactly that's what they don't like when I'm asking questions, because I ask questions where they can't really answer. They run away. It's too much for them to take. They want to talk about something else.
They always do nowadays. It doesn't matter which one of them you're talking to, on which side of the fence they sit. They don't want to talk about the things that are empirically correct. Sure is. I don't know. Where does it all stop, Spares, with political correctness stopping you from actually having any power within your own...
What do you mean, politically correct?
Politically correct, in terms of what we consider to be politically correct, how to act and behave. As long as you're not hurting other people and there's no one being harmed and there's no one's lost anything, you should be free to go anywhere you want in the world without a passport, but you can't, because they've caused so much indivision, and in their political correctness, you've lost parts of your freedom of speech already, which is only legally binding by your birth certificate, because if you're standing in truth, Spares, then legal doesn't matter, because that's fucking lie like everything else is, Spares. They've caused all this division in us, right down to the last hair, right? I probably started with man and woman, or different shades of skin, hue, man. Started something like that. Some moron, probably, pick and choose whoever you want, but they've been divided us right down to the football teams. You're best mates, and then on a Saturday afternoon for 2 hours, you can hate each other, because one's Liverpool, one's Man U, one's Chelsea, one's West Ham, whatever it is.
Well, that's the plan. The plan is not, I mean, they funded, I mean, I was watching that Aaron Russo, and he was saying that they funded the women's rights movement simply because they wanted to tax the women and divide the family. Mm-hmm. A lot of what they do is either on 2, 3, 4 fold. So they don't just do one thing for one reason. Anything it's never to benefit the women. Everything is just
once the woman got her equal rights, right, she still wasn't on equal pay, and that took another 40 or 50 years for that to sort itself out.
Right. But they're saying that women are more depressed now than ever because of there's more single women. So, when they're public, they're loud feminism. But when they're at home, they're upset. They're depressed. This is what they're saying. The stats are. I don't know if you believe in stats or whatever, but it hasn't benefited. I should say, it hasn't benefited man or woman, because women are becoming. I don't know. It's just not what it was. Let's say it like that. It's not what it was.
Well, from the era of TV up to Elvis, at least, you can see how they change things each decade, each generation. Like slow boiling the frog. It's a perfect analogy, right?
Yeah. In every one of these movements, there's always one or two people that make sense in that arena. Yeah, so it might be me, it might be you, it might be Pete, it might be anyone. There's always one or two of us in that arena. And usually what happens, like if this was public, whether it be, the hippie movement, the Black Panthers, the women's movement, any political movement that they kind of, organize, the people take hold of it, make sense of it, try to move it in the direction that, because what's funny is they kind of see that what they're doing could be used for good or bad. Yeah. So they could have taken the women's independence in a positive way and not made them, So I don't know if you want to say aggressive or whatever. So they could have taken any, like the hippie movement. They could have made that positive, but they took it and they made murders out of it. They said people were taking drugs. People were just having sex all the time, this type of thing, and it got destroyed eventually in the end. So the same thing, I mean, is happening. I'm trying to think, like, this is the flat Earth movement. So it's not like,
well, like you said earlier on, would you promote ganja, promote the herb to your son? No, like I said, I wouldn't. I have done in sort of wrong way. I've also shown him that they took this away for a reason, because it can be used for an umpteen million, from pills to ropes to clothes and then medicine.
Yeah,
they don't even want to mention medicine. They'd sooner put children on a waiting list and starve them right down, and then destroy all the decent white blood cells, the what's left of the immune system, on a gamble. Because remember, the guy who's supplying all the medicines for these things, Spurs, is one that coins the hammers. If you think he gives a shit about Elvis or you, he doesn't, mate.
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I know the plan already. I mean, I wish people would be more, either interested in it, take it more seriously, know what time it is. Like I was talking the other day, I was saying we're on a flat Earth and it's a clock. So obviously we know that it's a clock. So there's going to be an end.
Look, I'm Bill Nye, and you don't know what you're talking about. It's not flat.
Well, check this out there. Bill Nye is not even a real scientist, is he? He's just.
I know, he's just an actor. He's just an actor. Like the last face was. Elvis was an actor, right?
Yeah, he was an actor. Yes, that's right.
There you go. So it doesn't matter which face you've got on.
No, I don't know if the Earth is a clock, but the way I'm saying it is, this, it looks to me like it's a clock. God's looking down at a huge clock, and when he sees, so
that's like Admiral Baird in his interviews, rolling it round in the ashtray and that, and it's it's not like this. It's an upturned one, Spurs.
Okay, yeah.
Like Picard said, it looked like a flat dish with upturned edges, with ice going up the edges.
Yeah, that would be about right, yeah.
Yeah, it would be about right. And it would be about logical, unless there's more land.
No, I can't buy that.
Neither can I. I believe there's land under the ice that they've shown us. I believe that's right. And
either the land is massive, like, and so what I'm trying to say is wherever the firmament ends. So we don't know from our edge to the dome.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So if you want to say there's more land between the edge and the dome, yeah, that's probably, but not
more land afterwards.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I looked at it as many ways as I could. That the one that's meant to be. It turned up 2 years into this version, didn't it? The one with all the islands around ours.
The Japanese.
I don't think it was Japanese, was it? I thought, it might have come from Japan, yeah. But when I looked at it, just looking at the equator of us, and it's only going between the Cancer and Capricorn, right? That's how we get our seasons. That's the sun. It's only going that much. But all right, it's going round, but it's only going in, that much of the whole thing. So there's no way that light's reaching anything past the coals. It's like it's a natural barrier away from the sun. But you could live there if the analogy of Mount Meru being a whirlpool, and it's pulling in seas which go down, get flushed, distilled, lava, everything else, and get pushed out, then swirl back in. That'll give you these atmospheres that I show you. Because when we looked at a map the other day of Terra Polaris, it was Terra Polaris, we found another one, but it showed like warm, there was 1 or 2 warm orange and yellow vents of water. And I'm assuming these were the places where it showed you the guy half naked swimming in like a geyser. A geyser, like warm water bubbling up. So he was swimming just in his trunks, but he was surrounded by Antarctic ice, allegedly. I don't know, because I don't know what they've shown us, do you? So naturally assuming these would be the warm flows that push naturally against each other would create rains, and just if it was shaped like this or egg shaped, whatever it is, it would form natural spirals and vortexes just in everything. It's there. Fibonacci, it'd be everywhere. Spares. Whirlpool up, tornado down. It's everywhere you look at it, it's there. So these would act naturally, right? Giving us 2 inner and outer turns, if you like.
Yeah.
Where we are and where Australia and all the rest of them are. But it does go from Argentina, which is scorching hot, right? And then it just goes freezing cold, which is really, it must be really extreme out there, if that's the truth. Because we went to war in the Falklands for it, right? These 2 little islands right next to Argentina, which you'd say, hang on a minute, England's miles away from these waters.
That's what I mean. A lot of these things, like, they're the kind of things that they're probably try and get us with, where keep us arguing, because once a lot of flat earthers come into this, they're gonna have these questions. We're all gonna be like, well, what about this then? Yeah? We're not going to be debating, is it a ball? We're going to be debating, well, what's at the edge? Is it a dome? Is there more land? This is what's going to be.
Something scared them off, right? They were in there. The Operation High Jump, Warmth, he brought the carriers, he brought a sub, he brought everything, supplies. How long did it take? 6 weeks before they went packing up Antarctic Treaty?
Quick as you like.
If Baird's reports were right that he was losing his planes, I heard a thing saying, Germans got the force fields up on the base. Perhaps not, because when you look at the state of rockets, they were useless. It made me believe quite a lot of stuff at the end of the docket because of watching the Discovery Channel, Spares, thinking I'm watching something that's actually teaching me something.
National Geographic and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, because this scientist today found this bone. It's not actually a bone; it was a toenail. It's a toenail. But other scientists have come along, called geologists, and they've rebuilt this animal out of chicken wire and other things. Now you can see from this one toenail, we've actually got the duck-billed Tyrannosaurus, whatever, And because I believed I was from a monkey, and it really saddened on that. I actually didn't even stop to think, if I'm descended from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Why did they call it rhesus blood? Why did they say we're descended from monkeys, it's rhesus blood, when that's a monkey and we're descended from the great apes, right? That's what they said. No, it's not a monkey, it's great apes.
They even made that. What was that movie by Stanley Kubrick with the monkeys at the beginning?
Gorillas in the Mist.
No. They go into space afterwards.
Oh, Space Odyssey.
Yeah, so that's how they've even indoctrinating people through movies. They can't give it people through real science. I don't think even people believe it through science. They believe most of all these things through the movies
and TV, movies and TV and blockbusters. Spares.
If we look at all, people have made video after video where there's subliminals. So for someone to go through all that hard work of putting subliminals in movies about whether it be flat or a ball, that must mean that it shows to show it's the science, the schooling doesn't really convince people's imagination. They have to capture our imagination, and that's why I was, as you were saying that before, I was just thinking they've really ruined like our childhood.
Oh yeah,
They really ruined, teenagers.
They've ruined
aspirations, like
4 generations, Spurs.
Yeah, of aspirations of believing that they could do something. I really wanted to be an astronaut when I was young, and then you realize I never know what happened in that sector, but it's just it's not a reality for anybody to become an astronaut. It's not a reality for anyone
actonaut, as we like to call them, Spurs.
That's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they're doing. They're just acting in front of people, and they've just ruined. And this is why I say that a lot of people are going to be devastated. There's going to be devastation beyond belief. I think I've heard people say it's going to be people. It's going to be calm. It's going to be. I think there's going to be chaos. If you look at these people, do you really think they want?
No, I think you're wrong. Well, Spurs, I'm up in the air.
No, I was gonna say, do you think that these people want you to be right? Do you think any of these ball-earthers want me to be right?
No, they definitely don't want us to be right. They want themselves to be right. They want to be the spacemen going into space. Well, I almost wish your dad had taken the condom off and fired you into space. Literally, I do. For what you've done.
Look, I can even see the bubble.
What?
I can even see the bubble in your helmet. The bubbles of water.
Yeah, exactly. How can an astronaut drown in space? He can't. He drowned in a swimming pool because they're faking it in a ISS submarine.
It's just unbelievable.
It's
biggest hoax of mankind.
Just to hide the creation.
I mean, I think it's more to control. Well, yeah, it's all these things. Yeah, to hide the creation. It's to control us. They've gone through every length. They've pulled out every measure. Every stop they've pulled out to coerce the people, and it's kind of worked. When we look at the fest that's happened last year and trying to happen this year. It's kind of worked. People are trying to separate themselves and pick themselves off and select little groups and this type of thing. Well, the truth will stand. The truth will stand. And this is, unless these kind of, they do something drastic, like either, literally stop me from talking, take me out, take whoever out, the people who, this is what I say, these diamonds in the rough who make sense of what's going on. And they've always been those throughout the generations that they've taken out. Look at all the assassination that they've taken out good people because they say the wrong thing to them. So the truth will always stand. So all these little Masonic groups, all these people trying to fraternize, we see how it works. We're learned men. We've studied it. We've looked at it. It's been years looking at these things.
No one's taking me out, Spurs. All right. Mate. No one's taking me out. I'm not a real astronaut.
No, what my point is critical mass for them, because look, how I see it is they've let the cat out the bag and now they want to control where that cat goes. Not just letting the cat out to just run wild. Oh no.
Too late. We already have run wild.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We rang NASA. We rang NASA at 3 a.m. and told us that space was closed and we had to ring them back at daylight hours. I'm not happy about it. Anybody with any common sense knows that the sky at night is when you're going to see stars and stuff. So we ring NASA to ask them a question about stars and stuff, and they tell us to run back in daylight hours. Go figure.
Yeah.
And then astronauts drowned in space. So.
No, yeah, I know. It's all a joke. It's a big joke. It's a big joke. If
put it on national television everywhere, everybody watched the fake aquanaut. On this occasion, he was an aquanaut, and he drowned in his own helmet because there was a leak in his helmet, basically. And the pool water started to get in, and he started to drown in his own helmet. Yeah, so.
The worst thing about that is when idiots try to explain, like, that could happen because of this, and this, or what we've been taught about space and space travel. We're now to believe that you can drown in space.
I'll tell you where we got it all from. That's where we got it from, mate. Don't give me that. Don't give me anything else, mate. Star Trek taught us everything, mate. It was, what was it? And NASA actually gave them advice, didn't it, as far as things go, as I believe. What a sack of tosh, That's it. Captain Sulu. Captain Space, Gizmo. Hit the warp drive, son. We're landing in Australia. We're going to pick up A4 and we're going to let him loose on the Americans, all right?
Beam us up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Punchy, beam us up.
I'm telling you, man, it's just there's not going to be a big mental meltdown. There ain't. I'm telling you.
There's not going to be.
No, I don't think there is. That's what they want.
You think? I don't think people can handle it. You can't handle the truth. People cannot.
You can't handle it. What? I ain't got Jack Nicholson. Dang it! There's another one. Thanks, man.
It's in the movies again, and they tell you that people cannot handle the truth. Just look at the reaction. We're being called enemies of mankind. That is ludicrous. We're trying to genuinely help people, just show people what's what.
Yeah,
what
medicines. We're going to give the starving kids, we're going to give them $11 billion worth of medicines. That's what we're going to give them. We're not going to give them any food, which would help them naturally build the immune system so they could fight off these illnesses that are making them ill, just naturally. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's all about eugenics, isn't it? Because Bill Gates here, he wants to depopulate. It's all about depopulation, you see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And
right. Yeah, it's all about depopulation, and unless
indigenous peoples, shall we say?
Well, you say that. I mean, we look at I would be aware of all aspects of all races and who was looking at.
I don't say races. And by indigenous, I mean everybody who's indigenous to this plane that we live on. I just don't see it anymore. I don't see any of that. I see one plane, a creator. Obvious, and I know he's watching. Spares, I know. She, I don't know. I don't even know how to refer to the creator anymore. But, my problem is with all of this is that whilst people think that famous faces are what they have to aspire to be to.
Well, it's all about idolizing it, idols of any kind. So whether that be your mobile phone, whether it be Bill Gates,
I ain't got one. That's it. It's gone.
Kanye West, any of these idols, anything that you hold dear. Whatever you hold dear, so whether you hold this globe, if you hold this globe dear, then this is your idol. You're protecting something. Flat Earth is not something you protect. It's just something that is. It just is. It's not like we're just telling the truth. We ask questions. We found out we were lied to. And now we realize that we're not on a spinning ball. Now you are protecting this board. You're idolizing this board. You know what it entails. You know what it means if the truth is revealed. Masons know. Their cults. Everything is over.
Well, they're going to have to fuck their idol, aren't they?
Yeah.
Idol fuck.
Right, yeah.
Tell me to get off the couch and get a job. Anyway, that's what they're going to look like soon enough.
I thought that was Macaulay Culkin.
No, I have got one from Home Alone. Yeah. I don't, Spares, man, right? These days that are, by all rights, Spares, from all your research that you've done, right? If certain prophecies aren't coming true, right, through what we've been experiencing, etc., and they are, but they could be forcing a lot of on us, like the Mandela effect, where.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the plan, isn't it? It's all part of the plan because look, they've got to give. Listen, why do you think they give people when you watch an advert and you see something as stupid as what kind of hot chocolate you want, orange, mint? They're giving people choices, choice. So the more choice you have, the more people can, separate themselves, go this direction, that direction. When really there is only one choice. There's only one path. They know there is only one path. The reason why I give you all these different choices and options is to break people up so they realize, then the people that, whether it be like, I don't know if they're going to try and like bring in aliens or some kind of savior or whatever it be.
They spent a lot of money on faking it, Spares, otherwise.
Oh, money is no object to them, is it? It's not, money is nothing to them. They print it. So it's not, when we talk, they have the most wealth. Well, they're the printers. So of course, they can buy anything, make anything.
Yeah, but their wealth is literally off our labour and time, right? The people at the bottom. That's how it's a pyramid scheme, right?
Yeah.
What we've been taught about pyramid schemes, Spares.
Right.
The closest family members have told you, and in real life, they've been caught in some magician's spell of earning more of the paper promises. If you give me 2,000 each to buy shares in that, and then you sell this to 10 of your friends, you're going to make. Yeah, so that's basically how it is. But once they got up there, they just started printing their own money. And then the rest just worked like a clockwork orange. Another one of Kubrick's films who faked the movie.
Yeah.
So Kubrick, we have to go to Kubrick as well. Note to oneself.
Room 10. Room 237.
237,
yeah. That's the one with the rocket on his t-shirt, on his jumper.
Yeah, playing with the fire engines in the hexagonal shaped carpets.
So, the thing is as well, look, this is another thing as well, because the like black good business there, they have to tell us the truth, but not as we want it. So they'll do it in such a way where it will go over our heads. We'll miss it. But they'll say, well, we told you. It was there for
subliminally.
You. Subliminally,
Sublime, right?
Some way, in somehow, some form, they'll put it out there. They have to tell you the truth. And that's why a lot of people say, well, how did you work it out? Because when they do tell the truth, and we do realize that, what they're telling us, some people think, oh, well, that's just either like a movie, or that's just, how do you know that's real? Or, so they're playing games with people, on every level, giving people silly choice after choice, new age. Something is always new, new this, try this new style. And that's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to bring in this Mandela. So some people will be stuck on that. Oh, yes, we're in another reality. There's different realities. There's another you. How do you know this reality is real? Right? They're trying to seriously mess with the way people think. If they can mess with the way you think and you can't think straight, right? When you're trying to think and somebody's talking or there's a lot of noise, you can't think straight. So they're just trying to bring a lot of noise into your mind. You're supposed to have a clear, and the only way to have a clear mind is being able to see what is in front of you. And if you don't see what is in front of you, then anything can go into your mind. You can be fooled, given all kinds of choices and options. And that is where,
none of them actually have an option, like Labour and Conservative, because two wings are attached to the same body, right?
Right.
So unless you learn to read between their lines, and I think for anybody who has the same, feelings, Spurs, about other people, you're not thinking about yourself. Don't want money, Spurs. Don't want fame. Want everyone.
Well, that's it. People want more and more.
Not oppressed anymore. Everybody, everywhere I look, it's not about a single race, as they want to call it. It's not about a single country. It's not about a single man. It's about all of us. And like you said, they want to split it every which way they can. So at the end times, when they're ready to the master plan, plenty of songs, plenty of movies, whatever it is they want to hatch.
I mean, it's not like, I think, it's just about awareness, making sure that you're completely aware, like not you, but just people, and that what time it is, what's going on, what season, where you are now. You need to know what's happening around you. If you just walk across the road and you're not aware of what's going on, the inevitable is going to happen. So this is happening right now. There was stuff going on around that people are oblivious.
I know. And even when you tell them, they don't care. And if you could get them to look at flat earth for a minute, they often say, well, I haven't had to debate anyone for a long time because they usually don't want to go into debate. They've just triggered them. Anyone with half a logical brain, when you sting them properly with a seed, just a seed of information that makes them just a tiny bit inquisitive, that's when it blossoms, right? I got it out of the blue. My video just landed in me recommended play. 10 minutes later, I was the biggest loudmouth flat earther you've ever seen. Oh man, I stamped it all over Grimsby. Problem is, it continued for 2 years, and even now, when I bump into people, I can see it like, oh no, don't do it, because a lot of them don't even want to. I haven't got time for it. I haven't got time for any of this.
Yeah, they're scared, like we said. They're scared. That's what it is. It's fear, and they know what it means. Deep down, they know what it means. If they lose their ball, what happens if you take away your ball? The game ends. If you take away people's ball, that's it. No more playtime. It's over. Subliminally, deep down, they know that.
Golf ball, basketball, hockey ball,
football, exactly.
Football, snooker ball, baseball, goes on and on. Apart from badminton, because of shuttlecock. What's that all about? But obviously, the ones we first battled with are still out there in the wings, but they got nothing. All they're hoping for is the odd straggler that comes into their channel first,
Well, I mean, they are just they're just wasting their time. They've got nothing to give. They can't just give people what they already know. If they already know it's the board, why would a flat earther go to them to discuss what they already know? Unless there was a new baller there in there, which is, you don't see very often, that happen. But I mean, because I understand the fact that there are going to be some people who you're going to have to, well, not you, but I mean, just people will have to, not debate with, but just tell them, explain to them what's going on. They won't believe it. I mean, look at that Joel guy. He just can't believe it. He was so shocked when he's like, where all these flat earthers come from? What's going on? You know, he thinks it's like a thing in England. All these English people think the earth is flat. You know, he doesn't understand that Joel, you know, that guy, he's, you know, I'm saying it's a huge move. No, he's got his channel, that black guy from America.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it meant Joel.
Yeah, that's his name, Joel's.
Yeah, but not Joel Spectacle.
No, not that one, no.
When you said Joel, I just automatically thought of Joel.
But yeah, they can't believe it. A lot of people still don't believe. I mean, you know, they just can't believe it. At least that guy was asking.
You know why? You know why it is, don't you, Spurs? Go on, say it. You know why? You know why there's loads of English flat earthers? You know why it is? Say it. Be proud, mate. Be proud. That's what makes Britain great. That's what makes Britain great. All the colours come together, and it made the islands great. You know.
British intelligence, yes. No, of course not. But yeah, I know what you mean. But I mean, there was a guy. He was like, they are simply like, because I was looking at his face, and he was like, almost like he's never heard it before. He was like, I was giving him answers, and he was like, because he asked how, you know, well, how does the water stay on? Yeah, you know, and I'm just like, well, there's a war, it's keeping it on, and you know, instantly he was just like, okay, yeah, you know, he couldn't like, he was trying to think about it then, you know, and then you know,
there's a wall. How's that work in space? There's no space. Next question. It's so simple.
Yeah. It is kind of funny that they, you know, like now you know it's like funny, like haha, why do you think you're on a board? It's a bit stupid. Come on, grow up now. You've got no proof, you've got nothing. You know, how long do you want to just argue? They probably just want to argue for argument's sake.
Yeah. Like and someone must be getting prompted.
Everything is transparently clear. Everything, you know, everything has been explained. You know, all it needs now is just, I mean, I would say what it needs now is a genuine person who with you know, with access to, you know, with a plane or a ship or something like this, and just does a huge, you know, I don't know, just some, you know,
one huge gigantic journey from North Pole to South Pole in uninterrupted.
Yeah, I mean,
observed from 10,000 different satellites, please.
Yeah, not to prove a ball or anything like that. Just to do, like, what I mean is, when people are in the flat Earth mind, like, what I'm trying to say is, once you're in the flat Earth, you now have other questions. Like, I want to go to the edge. I want to know if there's a dome. I want to know what's underneath. You know, just these things. So people with resources, so people with resources and whatnot, they are going to push that. Yes, they're going to push that. They're not going to sit here debating. Oh, you know, with ball earthers. You know, they're going to say, Earth is flat, right? I'm going to do my, you know, we're going to go for it, and then probably, you know, put it online or something like that. So that's the next step. Not somebody who's a ball earther and wants to try and prove something. Nothing to prove. Just somebody because they want to see, they want to know. Because we don't know what's at the edge, do we? Yeah, we don't know what's up there.
No.
So that's what man is doing now with the ball. They want to know what's in space. You know, they keep sending these imaginary probes and imaginary satellites into space because they want to know what's up there. That's how we are. We want to know what's out there. So that I think would be the next step is once. Yeah, because like, you know, the debate is over. I think they want the debate to rage on.
How to do? It's over. We got no chance.
That's definitely the plan, for the debate to rage on. You know.
Sorry, I was just saying.
This one going off in a minute, yeah?
I think so. I saw a timer for half an hour.